Okay, we're live. So let's start with the first topic with video. Everyone's watched it. I'm pretty much sure I'm checked it. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that video, which kind of goes into what with games like Battlefront and Titanfall and all kind of similar games to that. What do you guys think of these games?
I'm not surprised that what happened at all.
Yeah, I admit I bought the game myself, but luckily I bought it for less than what it was worth.
I'm just glad I
Yeah,
never bought it in the first place.
I got it. I actually got the game for free, so I didn't pay a dime for it. But it was really. I mean, here's the thing. Evolve was such a strange game. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I actually had quite a bit of fun playing it in the beginning, but then, as it became increasingly more difficult to find people to play with, it all went downhill. And I do understand why that happened, because it was like the DLC issue became it became insane how much DLC was in the game. And keep in mind, right before the game came out, there was talk of all these different collector's editions as well, that people weren't even aware what was included in every single collector's edition. It's basically like what happened with Deus Ex, and all that nonsense.
So basically, it's a collector's edition version of Loot Crate.
Kind of. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Evolve tried the approach of selling DLC that was strictly cosmetic, but at the same time, they managed to screw it up, because if they stuck with just new skins, because all maps they released, I believe, were free. They were given out to anybody, so they didn't charge for maps or anything like that. But they charged money for monsters. And the problem was with the monsters, different kinds of monsters in the game. So you could play against one of these monsters you haven't bought, but you could not play as one. So it became such a weird divide. So people were very confused and didn't know exactly how this system works. So that was also part of the reason. And I gotta say, the main reason that people stopped playing it was because it got boring really fast. It was really fun in the beginning, but it got boring very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And the game didn't run that well. I mean, the Cry engine, as beautiful as that engine looks, it's crap.
It still has its issues. Yeah, I can confirm that.
And it looks great, but it was a lot of stuttering. There's a lot of performance issues with the Cry engine, and that's also a reason why I'm a little bit worried about the new Homefront game coming out, because that's also Cry engine. But yeah, we've seen this thing happen a lot of times. Multiplayer game being charged at full price and that barely have any content, then the player base drops off and you can't play it any longer. The positive note, if you want to call it that, is that Evolve at least have bot support, which even Battlefront didn't have, so you can play it offline if you want to. And Battlefront didn't have that, so they are so I would actually argue that Battlefront is in a way worse position than Evolve was, because that game is 100% multiplayer. And
it doesn't have a single player mode, right?
No, it has like these offline matches, but it's essentially like tiny versions of the maps of the multiplayer maps, where it's basically shooting at random NPCs coming running, but it's nothing. It doesn't simulate an actual online match, which Evolve does, where you actually are playing the same kind of matches offline as you are doing online. If Battlefront included bot support for the full scale maps, that would have been a better plus, because you could still play the game with friends and a bunch of bots if you wanted to. But they didn't have that option in Battlefront, so if you can't find players to play with, you are basically stuck. And I can tell you, finding players to play with on the PC version it's a goddamn nightmare because on PC there are so many options to other shooters you could be playing instead. Now, I want to touch on this briefly because this happened a couple of days ago, actually, that Activision decided to do something interesting. Activision released Call of Duty Black Ops 3 multiplayer only for $15 on the Steam store and $15 on the PlayStation PSN. Now, here's the interesting thing. They released the multiplayer. Just the multiplayer, and it's gonna stay at $15 until the 28th. I think they're trying out a new experience. I think they're experimenting to see if people will buy it. Now, this is strictly the multiplayer. It's not the single player campaign, and zombie mode is not included. This is strictly the multiplayer section of the game, and they're selling it for $15. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? That actually sounds pretty reasonable, because let's face it, Call of Duty, that's the multiplayer people buy that game for. So I'm interested to see how the sales will, how Steam will, how well it sells until the 28th.
But they also, I recall they used to do this for Call of Duty Online, right?
No, I don't think, not in the same way. This is basically the entire multiplayer of Black Ops 3, except for the zombie mode. So the zombie mode is not included, but it's the entire multiplayer experience with a few restrictions. But it was like custom games were not included, as far as I know. But you have matchmaking, and you could and you could play the multiplayer just fine. I think this was a smart move by them because you know, and what really surprised me that they also released it on consoles. I didn't expect them to do that because I thought it was just an experiment they did on the PC, but apparently it's out on the PSN store as well right now. And I gotta say, I think this is a clever move from Activision. It shows that they know that they have some serious competition coming, and they wanna get more people to play it. I think it's a good decision. And it really shows that it shows a lot of goodwill from Activision of them doing this, because the whole multiplayer people have been burnt on several multiplayer online games. You know, like Titanfall. You know, that game was stopped being fun very quickly. You have Battlefront, Evolve.
It didn't have a story mode.
Yeah, all of these games have basically become like completely empty. You know, hardly anybody plays them anymore. While Call of Duty is weird that they actually chose to do this, because Black Ops 3 is really heavily played. A shit ton of people are playing it, so that they all of a sudden say, you know what, we're going to take the most popular thing of our game and we're going to sell it for $15. I was like, okay. That's really, I mean, Black Ops actually sold pretty damn well, and there's a shit ton of people playing it, so I didn't understand why they decided to discount one of the most popular features of their game so much. But I like it. I hope they succeed with it, because if this can inspire other developers to do the same thing, hey, there's a new Call of Duty coming out. If you want the full game with the single player, it's still going to be $60, but if you just want the multiplayer, you can pay $15 for the multiplayer. It's giving the consumers a choice, and I'm all for that.
All right, Batman, since you have a limited amount of time. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Norwegian pretty much took like the words right out of my mouth regarding this. So luckily for me, I actually did not pick up Evolve. I kind of waited till what everyone had to say about the game first. But really, I guess most of my arguments for Evolve are kind of subjective. Like, what really turned me off most about it was just the endless stream amount of the DLC at the end of the game. Just useless fucking skins all over the place. And something else I've noticed too was just like a weird hype for this game, like during like E3 and shit in the presentation, saying like, "Oh, you're not a true gamer. You're not a true gamer if you don't fucking purchase this game." What was that?
Yeah, the video kind of shows that all the journalists through E3 just hyped the game out of compared to everyone else's game. Just it's so mind-blowing that it has become so hyped, and
A lot of people.
when people buy it, it just drops the fuck off because day one DLC has 136
I think
bucks that's not in the season pass.
I think most people got involved, kind of got hyped up with the graphics of the game, because when you saw that game, you thought, "Wow, this is impressive," with the flamethrowers and everything. Everyone probably got seduced by the hype of that game being like a first-person shooter that actually has unique graphics, and of course you can become a monster in the game, and you realize after looking at it, you're like, "Oh crap, what have I done?"
Yeah, see, my first impression of the game was that, like, oh, this looks similar to Crysis. Are they going through the Crysis approach, using stealth and different abilities to take down some enemies? So I was like, that might be kind of interesting. But then I heard them say, like, oh, this is like the best game of hide and seek and tag that you'll ever play. And to me, I was just thinking, like, oh, great. So this is going to be circling around the map and just nonstop repetitiveness.
To me, it was more like
And-
rednecks trying to find a moose in a haystack.
I
Pretty
gotta
much.
say one thing though. I actually one thing that I liked with Evolve was actually the craziness of the universe that they actually try to build around it. You know, when you hear the characters talking to each other, that was fun. But the problem with that was like, this game would have been so fun if it had been an actual story and a single player campaign where they just made this humorous story with these characters. That would have been a fun thing to do with that game. But it seemed like a missed opportunity because some of the character designs are absolutely hilarious, and a lot of the comments you hear from the characters can be really funny. But it was like, I think this game could have benefited from a proper single-player campaign, honestly. And you know, I don't know. There are several first-person shooter online only games coming out. You have Overwatch by Blizzard, which is coming out, and most people I have talked to, who have beta tested the game, they say they love it. So I don't know. I honestly do not know too much about Overwatch. I probably need to play it or somehow get my hands on a beta key or something, because everybody keeps telling me how great it is. So I don't know. There's a lot of competition heading away. But are we just talking about online FPS or strictly online games only?
Well, we're talking online games that aren't MMOs basically, and Evolve
Okay.
with the main focus.
One game to bring up that is coming out really soon that I am currently beta testing is The Division. How will that game do? That is, it looks. I mean, the beta as of right now has 2 main missions you're able to do, and the rest are basically walking around the same area as the last beta. So there's not a whole hell of a lot to do in the beta, and I don't know. It looks interesting, but I'm not really sold on it because it's an always online experience. And knowing Ubisoft and server issues has me a little concerned. I was kicked like 8 times from that game. Connection errors like popped up everywhere, and I know it's a beta, but they are less than a month away from release.
Cup, you had something?
Yeah, I just think, and this might, I'm gonna say something slightly offensive. I feel like whoever it is that was behind the whole launch presentation, everything behind Evolve, had some kind of like social disorder or something, and that like what you never ever do, and it doesn't matter what kind of game you're releasing at this point in time, you never ever sell the DLC like angle up front. You might have day 1 DLC, but you really need to just push the actual product and not the fact that there will be DLC or that there is already DLC. And I just remember all the marketing surrounding that game around launch just kept bringing up the DLC component, and I really felt like there was some lack of confidence in the core gameplay of it. And I also just think that they charged way too much. there are other games with a lot of sort of purchasable content and stuff like TF2. TF2 is free, I think, still, right?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I checked.
Yeah,
It's free.
TF2 is free, and you can buy stuff for it, but you can just run in there and see, like, do I even like this? And then at that point, you can start doing that. And I just feel really weird how Evolve kind of went with this dual model of we're going to, push the idea that it's legitimately worth this much money, but at the same time try to pressure you or encourage you to buy a bunch of extra stuff. Like, I don't know. I think they should have just included that extra monster that they started advertising right away around launch time as, oh, and for $14 you can buy this guy. They should have just thrown him in. The first monster that they should have charged money for should have come like a month or two down the line after everyone's really comfortable with the mechanics of the game, and then it's sort of like a game changer, and then people might feel the need or interest to buy into this new game mechanic that they can try out. And instead, from early on, it's just like, oh, and there's a bunch of content that you can't access unless you buy it to pile on top of the game you just bought. Yeah.
So in short, you're calling the person in charge of it a retard, right?
I don't know what exactly. I don't want to like place a specific label, but I'm just saying it's really alienating in the kind of way that when you see somebody that has like socializing issues and whatnot, how they unintentionally like hurt other people's feelings or alienate them. I just feel like they alienated their player base without meaning to. It's just they just went about it completely the wrong way. They did exactly what you're not supposed to do.
There is a label for this, and it's something that we've all known and experienced for a while. In fact, it's like an old meme. I mean, what we're seeing with Evolve, especially in the wake of like Colonial Marines, I mean, this is just another step in the evolution of the free-to-play scam. I mean, this is something that you would expect to see out of one of those, awkward freemium games off in the corner of the market that we, just sort of have sort of become a joke now because they only really exist to scam their players out of money, right? Put some AAA level of money behind that, and you got to Evolve.
I gotta say though, this whole thing has really been. I think Turtle, the guys behind it, they really understood. I think that they made a mistake, but keep in mind the PR, which I agree with Cup, was a big part of it. But I think one of the big reasons that Evolve failed so hard as it did was because the game itself became pretty boring after a very short amount of time, because it was not fun. It stopped being fun pretty quickly because once you played through, let's say you had what is called a 5-day campaign, which essentially was 5 matches. And when you complete those matches, you either rescue all the humans or you kill everybody if you are the monster. Now the problem with that, after I played through 5 of those matches and completed the campaign, if you will, as they called it, I was bored with it. I had no interest in playing it ever again, and I think a lot of people felt that way because it became repetitive incredibly fast. So,
yeah. Do you remember God Mode?
I'm sorry?
I say, do you remember God Mode? Any of you ever played that?
No.
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 Essentially what you're describing is something that has been done several times before. There was a game before called God Mode. I remember Total Biscuit in particular did a video on it. It's supposed to be like this sort of 4-player, team shoot 'em up sort of deal, and it was advertised pretty heavily. It was really hyped up, and it was shit. It's just repetitive shit, and it wasn't the only sort of game to do this. I mean, you guys are seeing a pattern here. A lot of games are doing this. A lot of shit that we're not expecting to see in high budget titles is making its way up. The cancer is spreading.
One example that Cup touched upon was the idea of having all these DLC things being discussed even before the game is out, and you're seeing examples of that already now with the Division. I mean, you have Ubisoft talking about exclusive DLC for the Xbox One, which good for you. The console that has sold the worst out of the next-gen consoles are getting DLC. Well, I guess Microsoft has to move a few units. Now that all of their games also are coming to PC, I think Spencer, I swear to God, I think Spencer is trying to kill the Xbox, but I digress. The idea is that the Division announced this huge DLC plan where they're planning to go the Destiny route of introducing DLC regularly, because people have been comparing the Division to Destiny, which I don't know. I guess you can make that argument that it's a persistent online world that that is constantly being upgraded.
That's gonna be horrible. That's not gonna end well. That's just a payday model.
Well, let's put it this way: they pretty much screwed us over with the Taken King, and that kind of made us all upset about it. I was kind of disappointed, and I was like, you have to buy the actual disc of the Taken King in order to unlock the game. And yet they still have the other one, and there's no DLC. Do they have a DLC available for that thing? No.
Have you
You have
guys
to buy it full price of it, which is $50, $60.
Sorry. Have any of you guys played Payday?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
All you guys that have Steam, if you haven't played Payday, go to your Steam page right now. Go to Payday, and look at the DLC, and just look at the total cost of all the DLC.
Yeah, we talked about when they added the microtransactions, when they said the one of the producers or the creator or something said they wouldn't, and now they have fuck tons of.
I want to bring up a point. I want to bring up a point. Now that you mentioned the Steam store, I just wanted to bring up a small point. I personally, I'm a flight simulator addict. I enjoy flight sims, and there's a company that specializes in making simulator games. They're called Dovetail. They made the train simulator game, and go and have a look at the DLC for that game. How much that shit will cost? I mean, people who actually, I am not a train sim guy. I find that incredibly dull and boring. But that's me. I like flight sims, so I guess I can be equally boring. But at the same time, Dovetail tried the same shit when they re-released the Flight Simulator X, and they're making a new flight sim, and the community just jumped on them. No, we will not have your DLC. We want the professionally made packages that Boeing has approved, that developers have spent years in making. We want the stuff that we paid hundreds of dollars for it to work, or else we're not interested. So they were basically forced to accept that.
Good. We need more of that. We need more of this awareness and more of the backlash, because the cancer is spreading.
The flight sim community is really different from the gaming community, because we actually because a lot of us use Flight Simulator X, which came out in 2005, and my version is heavily modded with extra packs that are made by the community and made by other companies that specializes in making add-ons for Flight Simulator. I mean, I fly the most realistic planes you can ever hope to imagine. My one plane that I bought that's called a study simulator. That is what real pilots use. That cost me $250, and that is what real pilots use when they train. So that is how interested I am in it. I want to push every button. I want to learn navigation. That's my nerdy little hobby. But the problem was when Dovetail released all this stuff. Yeah, the problem was when Dovetail released this flight sim, there was a lot of people saying, well, will these add-ons still work with the Steam edition of the FSX Steam edition? And Dovetail went, yeah, we're not so sure yet. There might be some problems, and it turned out to be a shitload of problems getting shit to work. So, but they come around, and they are working with the other developers who have created the more expensive software. So they came around on that. They listen a lot to the community, and they're now creating the next flight sim, which I'm gonna give them a lot of credit for listening to the community and the way they have. But yeah, that is just one example of, like a total DLC cost just going absolutely off the charts. And Payday is an interesting discussion to take, because they said they would have none of this paywall shit, and then they turn around completely and introduces it anyway, and that pissed off a lot of people who play Payday.
It also raised
Arkham.
awareness about that in general. I mean, does anyone else see like the way a lot of this is coming together? I mean, you guys remember Aliens Colonial Marines and the fucking disaster that was?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk about that a little later in this stream. I have something to say about
But
Mr. Pitchford.
I want to bring up something too. I want to bring up about the fact that that's not the only game that actually had a crazy amount of DLC. You may recall the Saints Row 4 and Saints Row 3 had crazy amount of DLC.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
At least I know 4. I don't remember 3.
Arkham, you haven't spoken. Do you have anything to add?
Not really, no.
Yeah, you've been kind of quiet. That's
Yeah,
the only reason.
But they did it.
Well, actually, I do have a little bit of something. So sorry, GT. I'll let you go after me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, like as much as I dislike Konami, and this might be something that Kojima is in on, because I don't know how much reach Kojima still has with Metal Gear Solid 5. But there's going to be some DLC released, I think, in March, so this coming month. And, they're basically going to allow you to play as Quiet in Metal Gear Online, and they're going to release some other downloadable content. And from what I understand, it's supposed to be fairly reasonably priced. So I don't know if this is... And it looks to be like, like mostly cosmetic stuff, but they've already got cosmetic stuff in the game that they don't charge real money for unless you want to pay for it, type of thing.
Yeah. I gotta say though, Metal Gear is an interesting case as well, because it's what people really want from Konami when it comes to Metal Gear Solid 5 is to basically let somebody finish the half-developed ending of Chapter 3. That is all I want to see. But speaking of the multiplayer, I couldn't care less about the multiplayer in Metal Gear Solid. I did not buy Metal Gear Solid to play it online. I don't even like the online mode. The only thing I do online is to annoy other people when I develop nukes.
It's a nice time waster if you're looking for something to spend a little time. But I usually play like maybe 4 or 5 missions and then I take a break because it's really it gets kind of old quickly because it's very similar shit and some of the play styles are still unbalanced in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of this stuff happening this year. I'm just thinking of all the titles that are coming out. It seems like everybody is going taking the online approach right now, where single-player campaigns are. I think I think this is the year where a lot of single-player stuff will be thrown to the side, and we will see a lot more multiplayer-focused games because it seems like those games are selling like crazy. I mean, but I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that Battlefront, according to official sources, sold 16 million, while I go on to the stats pages and I see across all platforms total players playing right now 10,000. So there's 16 million people who bought this game, but hardly anyone plays it.
That's interesting.
It's weird. I mean, there's a stat page. They compare stats from Xbox Live, Origin, and Steam, of course. But since Battlefront is a EA game, it's on Origin and PSN, and they basically looked at the statistics for the game. There are more people playing Battlefield 4 on average than Battlefront.
Yeah, that's why there are so many sales of Battlefront on Origin and PSN and other platforms. Hey Kermit, it's the first time you've been here.
Do you
Shitload.
remember?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh, good.
Did any of you guys ever play Lord of the Rings online, or do you remember way back when that used to be a thing?
My friends
Yeah, I
used to
know.
play that game.
As
I played like 2 hours of it.
I
for
stared
those,
at it suspiciously.
for those who don't know, LTRO has sort of been struggling. It was kind of struggling for a while. It had its little loyal base, but didn't really have that sort of big push to expand at all. And their big gimmick for a while was having a 10-month subscription, whereas most MMOs at the time had 15 a month, right? But they were one of the first to switch over to the now called freemium model, and it was interesting because at the time nobody thought that it would be successful. There was a lot of skepticism about it. Everybody thought that was more or less just the death knell of the game in that company. And then stats come out a couple months later, and they realize that people are paying for content. At an impulse buy range, people are on average spending more money than they would be if they had just subscribed. And from that moment on, you don't even see games really being released with the old subscription model anymore. I mean, there's a few, but for most of them, that's not even a thing anymore. Freemium DLC has just sort of saturated the market, and it's a normal thing everywhere now. I mean,
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting. I remember when there was a lot of talk about different MMOs, because there was. I remember 4 years ago, not even 4 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago now. 3 years ago, there was this huge push from the gaming scene where everybody was making their own MMO, and from 2011 to 2014, there was this huge push of a lot of companies making different kinds of MMO. And most of them fell on their ass. Most of them became freemium within a year. When like Bethesda made Elder Scrolls Online, and they said, no, we will keep our subscription model, and now it's become freemium as well.
right.
So there were all these games going freemium. I think the only MMO besides World of Warcraft that actually succeeded in gaining a huge player base was Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, I can't even go.
You kidding me?
I can't even go onto a chat board without seeing some fucking person who plays that game. I played it. I hate it. It's boring as fuck.
Really?
Yes, I think it's boring. I don't understand how you could spend hours playing that game. I'm like, this is boring. I'm so fucking bored. It was like I mean, one game that I actually like, but I also got bored of that pretty quickly, is Guild Wars 2. That is also one of the games that succeeded.
I love Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Although it went through some like bullshit early on. I remember its launch was huge, and then they went through some straight up bullshit, and they kind of cut their legs off with some shit they pulled, development wise. They cut their legs off too fucking early, and they're still going good now. They released another expansion. What
really surprised me though is how well the Old Republic is doing. That a shit ton of people are still playing it.
Yeah,
that game is pretty shit, and
but
the
to be
pricing
fair,
model is abysmal.
They've done well because they've managed to. It's BioWare, and they've managed to isolate the role-playing crowd very easily with that. So, A, it's a Star Wars, it's a trusted property. B, it's BioWare, which for a lot of people means trusted RPG role-playing stuff. And
I will say
they've got RP servers, so a lot of the people hang around on the RP servers.
Well, some of the writing is solid, so I'll give it that. But overall, the engine and the game, God, it's just so much shit. I'm sorry, go on.
I will say this about the Old Republic. What was really weird about it was the 2 last expansion packs that came out for that game, because that is when the game stopped being a multiplayer online game and actually started resembling a single-player experience, because you could complete the entire Revan DLC alone. You didn't need anybody.
The newest one is designed to be a single-player DLC.
The story for that game that the writing just turned to such. I mean, they had good writing for at least a few of the character arcs, and then it just went
Yeah,
on to shit.
the Revan DLC was excellent. I liked that, but then they got into the whole new Emperor thing, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I couldn't stand that. God, well, they should have let Revan die when they fucked it up the first time with the founding mission.
I've played the new story. I'm playing the Old Republic as we speak, and the new story is actually pretty good. There are 10 chapters now, and it's pretty interesting with what they've done. And I like how they've done stuff. I still think they should release more PvP content, but that's just me.
I don't like
PvP in that game is such shit.
I don't like the restrictions they put on some of their content though. For a free player, you get limited to like 3 PvP matches a week or something, and 3 Starfighter matches a week, and it's fucking awful. And then they charge.
The worst MMO when it comes to the worst freemium model on the market. The worst. That is the bottom line.
Well,
you can't do worse than that. It's
I gotta say one thing. Yes, their freemium model is absolutely terrible, but I will give BioWare props on one thing, and that is the fact that if you are a subscriber, you will essentially get all the new content that is coming out for free. They changed it so you don't have to pay extra for the new content.
It's the same with Elder Scrolls Online. They do the same thing. If you're a subscriber, you get it for free, and if you're not, you can buy it for like 2,000 like Imperial coin things or whatever.
Yeah,
I would argue one of the best free-to-play models ever is a game that none of you play because it is too nerdy and also a bit old, but it's a good model.
RuneScape? Are you gonna say RuneScape?
No, I'm gonna say Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Nerd.
Oh, that's quite old now.
It is old. But its model is good. You get a bunch of character classes. You get a bunch of races.
Wait, hold on. I need to completely unfuck myself here because I mentioned Lord of the Rings Online before. What I meant was DDO. That was Carbine. They were the ones.
Carbine tends to have pretty solid models.
They were the first.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about? Are we talking about Dungeon? Are we talking about
running on like Pathfinder 3.5 something along that?
DDO, that company, they were the first to launch the whole freemium thing, and that's when a couple months later it came out that people were spending more money on the game than they would have been if they just subscribed. LGRO eventually went to a different model, but
wait a minute. Are we talking about Dungeons and Dragons Online or Neverwinter?
No, DDO.
Dungeons and Dragons.
God, don't get me started on fucking Neverwinter and fucking Cryptic Studios.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I used to remember they used to have that superhero one. I forgot what it was called.
Champions Online.
City of Heroes.
Yeah, Champions. Champions Online, not City of Heroes. Champions.
You guys want to hear about development drama? Holy shit. So, Cryptic Studios used to be behind Champions. That used to be behind City of Heroes, but they eventually split, and Cryptic Studios went off on to eventually create Champions Online.
Yep.
Which we'll get into what happened with that later. Paragon Studios, guys that remain, stuck on with City of Heroes, and City of Heroes was doing great, all the way up until some just straight up internal bullshit just cratered it. Okay, I understand there was no excuse, no real reason for that game to have been shut down when it shut down. All right, it was doing good. The devs were putting out content. The player base was the game was doing good, and there was some internal drama that too many people aren't speaking on that it went down, and there's some other stuff. But in any case, that went down. Cryptic Studios went out to release Champions Online. They had this awkward little rivalry going with City of Heroes until Champions Online more or less just shit on itself because after its first expansion, it just went nowhere for a variety of reasons. Then they got bought up by Perfect World. Go on, what do you say?
The only game that I know Cryptic still has a lot of people playing right now is Star Trek Online. That is the only game they have.
Oh, dude, let me tell you. Oh, okay. So,
he's got too many stories already, dude.
Listen, it's all related because after Champions started going down, are any of you guys familiar with Perfect World?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It started off
Yeah.
as a shitty game, and then that company started buying up a bunch of other failing games, and they sort of got in big time when they bought out Cryptic, because they got Champions Online. They also got Star Trek Online, which had possibly one of the worst launches I can remember
Oh yeah.
for an MMO.
It was bad. Oh man.
Yeah, it was bad. It was out there for a while, but so Perfect World Online has this very particular freemium model that you'll recognize if you play any of its games. It's just heavily.
Aren't Neverwinter also part of that? Yeah.
Yeah, they also picked up Neverwinter from Cryptic Studios. Perfect World got a hold of Champions Online, Neverwinter, and Star Trek Online. And it's awkward to describe. I mean, for better and worse. I mean, Star Trek Online, um, it did great from the extra funding that it got under Perfect World's management, because it was just abandonware for the longest time. Champions Online is unfortunately just heartbreaking. It has so much potential, and it's just shit now. I mean, it's great if you just want to start off on it, but don't get too attached to it, because it's fucking nowhere.
It's treading
Neverwinter,
water at this point.
it's been sort of an awkward roller coaster, because that was one of the first projects that they launched on their own after being picked up by Perfect World. And what really made the difference between both Neverwinter and Star Trek's revival was picking up some of the old team from when City of Heroes went down. There was an awkward little bit there where after City of Heroes went down, a bunch of that old team reunited with Cryptic Studios, since they all had worked together years before. A cute little reunion thing. But the thing is, City of Heroes had some of the best writing that you will ever see in a game. And between getting some of those amazing writers, some of those amazing developers, along with
especially
a
the
lot
comic
of
books.
yeah, and then also another thing that helped Star Trek Online was fucking Worf and my old toy.
Well, they got the full support from Paramount as well when it came
Yes.
to Star Trek, and that really helped them along a lot. And
The only
I will
thing
say
that fell
that
through was Spiner, but that's an awkward story. But sorry, go on.
I just wanted to say this is interesting because there has been, I mean, once the new Star Trek movie came out, they started doing a lot of cross promotion with the J.J. Abrams movie and so on. And now in, I believe, January of next year, CBS is actually planning to launch a brand new Star Trek show, which is the first one since Enterprise. And that has been a few years. It's been a few years since we've seen Star Trek on television screens
They
now. So
tried
I
to
think
do.
a lot of
I think there was also a fan-made one called Renegade.
no, it didn't come out.
Oh, it did. I saw it. It was on YouTube.
I thought it got shut down though, or chased.
Yeah.
At least it got chased with copyright stuff.
One pilot episode was was made, but what happened with that, it had nothing to do with copyright because a couple of original actors also was a part of that show.
Huh.
So they actually had, I believe, the guy who, okay, this is gonna sound really racist, but the Black Vulcan from Voyager was in there.
I'm not racist, but.
I'm not a racist, but
Tuvok.
Well, let's kind of move
Yeah,
in, move into the kind of the second part of this topic, which is Street Fighter V being released, and it's being criticized for not having enough content.
it's an early access game. It's an early access
Basically.
game.
Basically, because it's the same issue with Titanfall, Battlefront, Evolve, and all the other games have, because this game is seriously lacking content.
I can say I haven't played it yet, but I've been speaking to a lot of people who bought it on different platforms. I know one guy who bought it for the PS4 and one guy who bought it for the PC. PC people is getting screwed over. First of all, there is no X input in the game. Yes, there is X input, but there's no direct input. So if you have a fight stick or any controller that is not an Xbox controller, you're screwed. Second of all, there's been so many connection problems with Street Fighter, so people are getting constantly kicked off, and you have to constantly reconnect, and yeah, it's a goddamn nightmare to play it online. Second of all, a lot of the content that have been that are missing from the game, like a proper story mode, which is not included, and there is plenty of other stuff that they have said will be coming out in June, and they will be adding new content in March. They have said that this content will be added on, and they will come out with it, but it still feels pretty weird that they would release the game in this state, because it's what it is right now. It's an early access game. Hey, we give you this now, and then the rest of the content will come later. It's an early access game. What can I say? That's what it is for $60.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, I just want to adopt this because at Metacritic, the reviewer score from critics is 76 and user score is 2.6.
Jesus
I think both are wrong, because it's definitely not an 8 like IGN went out and said. That's bullshit. It doesn't deserve that kind of high ratings in its current state. But I also think people are wrong to give it like 1 or 2. It's not that bad. It's actually pretty fun once you start getting into the elements of it. I hear a lot of people say that the game is really fun when it works. But
yeah, there's also one big problem with it. There is a hitbox issue down below the foot of Chung-Li, which according to some users, they've been having issues with. Even Cammy had an issue with the hitbox through the foot, which is a glitch.
Too, by the way.
There's also another problem with the game right now, is that people can actually, instead of ending up losing, if they are in a match where it looks like they're going to lose the game, they can actually just quit instantly and not get that on their stats. So it's called the rage quitting bug.
Jesus.
So there's a lot of problems with it. But I still agree that the game doesn't deserve. I hate review scores. Personally, I hate review scores, but giving the game 8s and 9s is ridiculous, especially in its current state. And I also think giving the game a 2 is ridiculous.
Or give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, giving it a 2 is also ridiculous because it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good when it works. But the problem is that it deserves. If I was to give it a review score, I would say a 4. It's an average-looking game at best, and that is not what we want from Street Fighter. We want Street Fighter to be fucking glorious, and so I really hope that Capcom takes a good hard look at this, because I was told by somebody that the main reason they released this early now was that they could have it ready for tournaments, but to say that and not have controller support for it on all platforms is ridiculous. If they wanted this game ready for tournaments and not have it support other controllers, that is a big fuck up. That's pretty much what I have to say about it.
Well, it goes back to the argument where games come out and focus mostly on the online, which is the case with this. Just like Evolve, where a game comes out and it just doesn't have it's not worthy of the 60 or a full price that it's being sold for.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful.
That's been a growing trend ever since Aliens
game.
Colonial Marines. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you're looking at online focused games, you can't. I guess you can't make the argument that focusing on the online aspects doesn't make it worth the money. I mean, I'm not defending Evolve, because Evolve's DLC strategy was fucking abysmal, but that was an online co-op focused game. The same with Rainbow Six Siege. There's no single player, but to be fair, it was blatantly advertised as a multiplayer-only game. They came out several times. They said we're
but
focusing on.
the content isn't there.
I will say one thing. I know a lot of people have said, "Oh, we will not buy Rainbow Six Siege because it didn't have a single-player campaign." I will defend Rainbow Six Siege. That game is very much underrated. It's a damn good game. It's really damn good. I enjoy Rainbow Six Siege. I think anybody should pick that up because it's so much fun to play. It's really a solid multiplayer experience. It's really great. It's probably one of the best games that Ubisoft have made in years. And when I saw what they were planning to do with, because they had a single-player campaign they wanted to include with that game, and I saw what they were trying to do, and the single-player looks like absolute shit. And they basically said, "Fuck it, we're gonna focus all our attention in making a solid multiplayer game." And I think they succeeded with Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
It's a solid game that has gotten a lot of people playing it, and more people are getting their hands on it now, and they're building up a pretty solid player base. So I definitely think Rainbow Six Siege is worth the money because it's such a solid looking game. And it plays well, it handles well. I really enjoy it, and
It's a case of each to their own at this point. It's if you value single player components more, or if you were looking for a certain thing, then it's very different, and everyone's going to have their own opinion on it.
oh yeah, I mean it's like, but here's the thing. One interesting point is that in some cases where, for a long time when it comes to a lot of single-player games, we saw this a lot of times back in the early 2000s, where we had a lot of single-player focused games coming on with tacked-on multiplayer. Now you see the opposite. You see well-developed multiplayer games with shit single-player coming out. And here's the problem. Creating a single-player game takes a lot more resources because you have to get voice actors, you have to have a story written down. It takes a lot more resources to make. You have to make the cutscenes for the single-player experience and so on and so forth. Now, a multiplayer game, if they focus all their attention in creating a well-balanced multiplayer experience, I would actually prefer they just kept it multiplayer only instead of tacking on a single player that stinks. Like Battlefield 4. I would much rather they focused on the multiplayer instead of tacking on this crap single player they had. And if they actually focused more on the single player, maybe we wouldn't have such a disastrous launch.
It's got to be built from the ground up. They've got to have a design idea in mind. Because I've been playing the Division beta at the moment, this weekend, and that game has been designed to be like a cooperative multiplayer game. It's still got story missions and stuff, but it's all co-op based, and you can play it yourself. But there's no hindrance, but the whole thing has been designed to allow you to have that sort of interoperability, and it's good.
It's giving you options. I played the Division beta myself. I finished the two single-player missions. The one in the subway and the one in the hospital. And what I got from is that I liked the fact that I could, if people really wanted to help me out, I was like, damn, I need help with this. But I beat both missions on my own. You can beat them all on your own if you want to. And they actually adjust difficulty leveling for that, so they don't go nuts, so that you won't be able to finish the single-player stuff if you want to do it on your own. But I love the fact that how easy it is for somebody to jump in and help you out. It was like, boom, there's a few guys that I know, and they were like, can we join? Yeah, sure.
There's someone in the chat. I just wanted to add this to the discussion. Fungicification says, well, I don't think it's worth $60 if it's just multiplayer. What if my internet goes to shit? Which is kind of a valid point. And Ungrounded Axiom says it's all about replayability.
I agree with the replayability, and I somewhat, not saying it's a good thing, but I think in this day and age, the expectation is that the consumer has a stable internet connection, and it's been the trend for the past few years has been to allow more and more multiplayer aspect into the game and more online connectedness. Whether you agree with that or not is different, but the industry trend is to add all these extra online features. I don't think it's a case of if your internet goes to shit, I think the developer's going to say, so what? They're going to expect you to have decent internet in current year.
Well, here's the interesting thing, though. I want to say that I agree that replayability is probably way more important, because if you finish, like, if you take a single-player only game like Far Cry, you play that game from start to finish, you're done. You know, that's it. I played Far Cry 4 once. I played Far Cry 3 once. I have no interest in replaying them at all. There is not, like, they're shitting them. They're in my Steam store. I haven't bothered reinstalling them. I will probably never play them again, ever, because
BioShock Infinite is mine. I finished it in like 11 hours, and I've not touched it since.
No, me neither. And same here. I don't really replay a lot of single-player games, and only games that have like multiple branching stories, like Until Dawn. That was fun to play again because you wanted to see what happened if you did this. That is different because that game encourages you to replay it over and over again to get different kinds of endings. Now, to the argument that if it doesn't have a single-player campaign, it's not worth $60. That depends entirely on how the game is marketed and what your personal preference is. Because I believe that a game that is really well developed and designed to be an online-only game can be worth $60. That's like saying World of Warcraft is not worth $60. It's a damn.
Yeah, there's someone in the chat. Robin CH1 says if the online game only lasts 2 to 5 years, it might not be that good. Counter-Strike has lasted like well over 10 years now, right? Still a good game.
For each series, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, no one can deny that Star Wars Galaxies was a good game, regardless of how long it operated for, or the changes that were made. Admittedly, they fucked that up, but for a lot of people, the experience they had with it for their money is still going to be... They will have enjoyed it. You can't say it was shit because X reason.
No, I gotta say about Galaxies, I mean, I played that game from when the day it was launched until the day they shut it down. I was a frequent player of Star Wars Galaxies. What happened there was that they introduced the update that basically fucked everybody over. So the game was shut down because people were leaving in droves, and I saw that actually happen. And there was a lot of drama on those servers for a while. I remember there was I'm not making this up. There was a financial crisis inside the Galactic Empire. Credits were worth absolutely nothing because somebody was hoarding credits. So there was a fucking financial crisis going on in there. It was hilarious. And you had to have so much credits to even buy something, because somebody was devaluing the entire economy in the server and everything went to shit. So a lot of people left on their own, and that's why that game failed. But one game that I will say has lasted since 2004 and that people are still playing in significant numbers, and that's an always online game. That is World of Warcraft. Say what you will about it.
It's an MMO, which is kind of not the discussion we're having. We're talking about 60 fully priced games. Because MMOs, it's kind of the only thing.
What about Guild Wars?
Well, it's also an MMO.
Yeah, but I mean, Guild Wars' payment model is very different from WoW. Guild Wars' payment model is pay once and play. It's a $60 game.
True, but
that was like 50 something.
I mean, admittedly, it's an always online multiplayer game, so I guess it doesn't really play into the discussion about should a game have single player or multiplayer. But I guess, to be honest, you could almost claim that Call of Duty at this point is a $60 online multiplayer game, because I don't know anyone who buys Call of Duty for just the campaign.
Well, Team Fortress 2 was kind of pricey back in the day.
But wasn't Team Fortress 2 part of the Orange?
Yes, it was.
Where they had
part of the Orange box.
It had been out for a while at that point, though.
It had. That is true. And now it's all hats. So.
Well, let's just. I think we've kind of dwelled on this topic too long. I wanted to kind of move on to kind of something that happened just a few hours ago, actually. I don't want to link the video or something like that. I just want to talk about it. It's our favorite female feminist, Jenny McDermott, slandering and doing defamation to Skeptic Armour on her latest video.
Why do you call it slandering and defamation? It's shit posting. That's what she's doing. She's shit posting.
She could be sued for what she's doing.
Well, what specifically is she saying?
Basically, if you watch, let me put it this way. Go ahead. Continue.
I was saying, if it's false, maybe you might have a case.
It is false.
That's why I'm trying to actually ask what specifically is she saying.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. I know the story. I saw the video. She claims that Armored Skeptic Armored Skeptic dated Shoe on Head. That's what happened. She claimed that
the thing is, she's claiming that he's a rapist. That Shoe on Head is 17 years old.
Yeah, that's not even true. Okay, that's
okay. I didn't even hear it because I got kicked out of the call by someone.
No,
you're disconnected.
It's statutory rape because she's 17 and he's 30. Even though, I mean, I understand it's kind of creepy, but it's not. That's a straight exaggeration.
She claimed that she claimed that Shoe on Head and Armored Skeptic dated while she was 17.
No,
okay.
Not even be a thing. That may not even be an issue depending on where they are. I mean, I understand it.
Hold on. Just because someone dates someone 1 year under the age limit, the legal age to have sex, does not make that illegal. If they had sex, that's another thing.
Depends on the state.
Not only that, but if you get your parents' permission, 16.
No, it's 17 in New York and 17 in Canada, so still, it's...
depends on the state.
I'm talking about on the federal level.
Yeah, it depends on the state. It's a state thing.
Yeah.
How old is she right now?
She's 24.
Who cares?
Yeah, because I've heard her talk about having a degree that she's not happy with. So, I mean, if we want to turn back the clock, did Skeptic really know Shoe all the way back then?
No, I doubt it.
That's like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's drama.
I think it's not a great topic for discussion, to be fair, because we don't know the facts and we're just speculating at this point.
If you want to talk about drama, we can talk about drama, but that's all this is, drama.
Guys.
Okay, so
hang on,
I want to address what Andrew is saying then. If she specifically said that, if this is verbatim what she said, Armored Skeptic was dating June when she was 17. If that's what she's saying, I don't think she can get sued for it. She would have to explicitly say she would literally have to explicitly say Armored Skeptic is a pedophile, and then
that's what she's saying. That's what she's saying.
Has she specifically said it, or is she implying it? Because
implication and explication are two different things. She has to explicitly say it to get sued.
She's not. She's talking about how 17 versus 30 years old is kind of creepy and kind of
right.
She's not.
She did not say the exact words that I said, that Armored Skeptic is a pedophile. She did not say that, did she?
No, she said that kind of...
So she can't use it for slander, because that's not what she said.
Yeah, it's drama.
She's still a dumbass, but she can't get sued for slander.
Someone in the chat said, why are people always so interested in drama? It's just like, there's a reason E exists, and it's because there are vapid people that enjoy drama.
Well, I do have one question about all this, and it's simply, what do you think's Jenny's current motive to want to create drama?
Attention.
She's a feminist. That's all.
Okay, if it's just attention, then this is just drama. The reason why I always bring that up is that if you look at when people try to drum up drama, a lot of the time that's because something is happening that they're trying to deflect attention from at the moment. So I was just curious if there could be any reason why she's trying to deflect attention
Maybe she
towards...
wants
I
to
think she's
bang
actually
people.
trying
Jenny
to.
McDermott.
I think she's trying to draw attention to herself because
Maybe she's
really,
Yeah.
who
Okay,
the fuck even
so
knew who she
Yeah,
was before
it's
now?
just trying to draw
Look,
attention.
it's really just
drama.
her wanting attention for the sake of wanting attention, because that's why she fucking made the video saying that she flagged Grey Knight in Blue Chat, because she wants attention.
I wanted to
Okay.
bring that up.
She takes
Then we
pot
shouldn't
shots
give her
at
attention.
people.
If there's nothing, if there's no potential cover-up attached to this, or some kind of grander scheme, then I
I
don't
think this
see
is
why
a
we're talking.
non-story.
She's
This
taking
is
pot
not
shots
really a
at all manner
story
of
for discussion.
prominent people, like Thunderflow. I think she's taking shots at Sargon. She's a fucking. It's just attention. It's drama. There's
It's
Yeah,
it's a
can I just interrupt for a
baseless
second?
story that's just made to drum up this sort of chat where everyone goes, "Oh, why would?" And it's just
Here's an example that I used to
JT?
remember. I'll bring it up. She made a video about herself being harassed, and she wanted the media to basically pay attention to her. In one of the videos, I actually made a reaction video about it. It was called The Letter. And she made that video saying that she wanted NBC, CBS, and all these people that she claims that she's being harassed when that whole Thunderfoot fiasco happened. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. She's an
Yeah,
idiot.
she basically claimed that she was being harassed when really she was harassing Thunderfoot, and in support of what's her name, the Laughing Witch.
Yeah.
Laughing Witch.
To get back at what Cup was mentioning before, this is a person who's taken pot shots at a number of prominent YouTube celebrities, mostly for the attention, because really nobody would who even knew who she was before this came up. I mean, that's what this is about. She does this.
What I've been trying to say this for the last 10 minutes. Why the hell are we even discussing her?
Exactly.
We are we're giving her attention. That is what she wants. Please, can we get off this topic? I don't want to talk about the person. I'm not going to even mention her fucking name.
Let's talk about video games.
Yeah.
Well, the reason because Archon mentioned it as well, because she also flagged his streams. I believe it was Blue Chat.
Grey Knight got his stream flagged a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he basically she DMCA'd several of his streams.
No.
Also-
She didn't DMCA. She mass flagged.
Yeah,
okay.
she had with help of what's his name?
Yeah, she basically deleted one of his streams with mass reports.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted
DMCA
to.
is a little bit different from that.
Oh,
All right.
by the way, guys, Hillary Clinton just won Nevada. Fuck.
Yeah.
Did she?
That's not a surprise though. She got all the big casino sites, which I mean,
She did.
really, are you surprised?
No, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
But how much?
I'm not
mad, I'm not
But
mad,
look at the. If you look at the
Casinos are all
percentage
for
point,
Hillary.
52.2 to 47.7.
I swear
For
to
someone
God.
whose campaign was meant to be fucking easy,
The
and who's got multi-million-dollar support behind her, Bernie
The
is fucking her
casinos.
up hardcore.
the
I gotta
casinos
say-
are all in for Hillary.
I
No
gotta say though,
surprise.
I gotta say one thing though. He got 47% of the vote in Nevada, so he's not exactly doing as poorly as people thought he was.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I swear to God, if she gets the nomination, I am ordering a Trump 2016 T-shirt online, and I'm gonna go to the U.S. and fucking campaign for him.
Yeah.
I do not want to see Hillary in office. I'm sorry, I do not.
Well, I think Hillary is an extremely
It's
poor
not going
choice.
to be Trump.
I say Trump 2016 if she wins the nomination.
If you haven't been paying attention to some of the murmurings on that side, there's some I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy thing, but Marco Rubio's sort of narrative has been building,
He's
and
got 20% in the South, I think, so far
Yeah.
in the polling. So he's doing well, which is interesting considering his robot repeat scenario that happened not very long ago, which was fucking hilarious.
well, more than that. But I mean, his poll numbers are completely have been rather inconsistent with his performance and with a lot of the factors that normally correlate with rising in polls.
Okay, that's enough, that's enough politics. I just thought I should bring it up. Anyways, let's get back to the topic.
Oh shit.
Well, we kind of did the last topic. All I wanted to mention was the flagging of Grey Knight's videos.
Did you guys bring up that whole Sonic thing yet?
Amazing.
The fact that Sonic got accused of what was it? Transphobia by
yes. I need to favorite that tweet. I can't find it. Did they get removed?
He's an attack helicopter now, so it's fine.
He stole my
joke. The next
joke.
Sonic game much more interesting if he's an attack helicopter.
He stole my joke because I made that joke 2 weeks ago. So.
Are you actually accusing Sonic the Hedgehog of stealing your joke?
Yes, I do. That shit, Lord. Anyways, let's go on to the next article.
Before we move on, I just gotta say, as a closing to that one, as a segue, I think he was just too fast for you, Andrew.
Oh.
Fast? No. Maybe in bed.
How would you know that? That's disgusting.
Yeah, you furry.
Because his girlfriend told me that. Anyways, next topic. Present to everyone. There we go. Here. Let's go through this article, which is such a lovely piece of
before we start, can I just ask, is anyone here playing Just Cause 3 or has played Just Cause 3? No. Oh, fuck. Because I haven't been doing the story missions and I've been blowing up all the bases, and I think I've got nearly all the bases, and I'm really worried I've broken the game. I just wondered if anyone else had done the same thing and if I've actually broken it or not.
What game?
Just Cause 3. I've not been doing any of the story missions, and I did one the other day, and I'd already captured the base, and it took me like 30 minutes. No, not 30 minutes, 30 seconds, because I just walked through and there were no enemies.
Oh, I haven't played that game at all. I got turned off from the game when people were saying that it was actually pretty boring compared to Just Cause 2.
It's Just Cause. I don't understand how people... It's the same shit every game. It's a large world, but it's fucking empty. And you just blow things up. Except this time the performance issues are massive and it glitches a lot.
Yeah, and you have to push stunts in order to make that game work.
Well, guys, I'm going to bed. I'll talk to you guys later. Good night.
Good night and Godspeed.
Alright, let's start this article. When a former relationship ended in allegedly harassing online diatribe. What?
Sorry. But
Okay.
this is already setting off the drama meter.
Yeah. Get triggered, shithead. Zoe Quinn got a restraining order against Aaron Joney, but then a bigger problem began. The Washington Post reports in a lengthy story a group of anonymous individuals involved in an online attack known as GamerGate targeted the independent game developer. Like women also experienced similar harassment attributed to the group when they attempted to defend Quinn. I just would like to mention these journalists, everyone who is reporting this shit, hasn't gone beyond August 2014. I just would like to point that out.
Well, the biggest thing is that no one ever talks to Aaron. No one ever asks for his side of the story.
Well, there was one. I can't remember which.
The BBC Three article recently. If you're talking about the BBC Three article recently, don't jump the gun. They made the Daily Dot. Yeah, there was also
Daily
a
Dot.
BBC Three article that said actually there's two sides to the story, and everyone was like, "Oh, hooray, BBC Three!" And then they started interviewing a bunch of people for a video, and I think it was today where someone commented on the video saying, I was interviewed and they didn't take any of my positive comments and only took the negative comments.
They basically did the same thing with ABC piece, what it feels to be like a GamerGate target, where they what's her name? Stephanie Green, who was in the video. They took her videos and basically made it look like she was a victim when she wasn't. So yeah, this isn't anything new. So let's continue with this article. A group of anonymous individuals involved in an online attack. Oh, sorry, did I read this? Yeah, I read it. Sorry. The attackers posted Quinn's address and nude photos. This gets me every fucking time. She posed nude photos of herself when she took money for them.
These are the nude photos she got paid to do, yeah?
Yeah.
It makes it sound like she stole them
These
from
were
somewhere.
pre-existing things on the internet already accessible on the internet, and already findable on the internet.
Yes, and the funny fact.
The term is called Creative Commons.
And the funny fact is that it belonged to a photo photographer who actually is professional, who actually put out the information about that issue.
Right.
So check your sources first before trying to confirm this, lady. Jesus Christ.
And check your privilege, motherfuckers.
We don't need facts. What's wrong with you?
Check your sources and check your privilege.
Yeah, hacked her website. It's not like she DDoSed and hacked the Fine Capitalists and doxed them. No, that didn't happen. And some even made rape and death threats.
I don't even remember her. All I know is her website was freaking what was that one website? It was the Depression Quest game to promote her game. That didn't get hacked.
No.
How do you know?
What are you talking about? Wait, what?
It didn't get hacked.
What didn't get hacked?
Oh.
The
No,
Depression
her
Quest.
website,
I
no.
knew this.
Were you there?
Not
West
only
Gate.
did her website not get
It
hacked,
could have been hacked in the middle of the night while everyone was asleep,
And they're
was
saying
around to
nude
notice.
photos hacked from her website.
not only were they not hacked, but wasn't she behind the people that hacked TFYC and then also?
Yeah,
Wait, did they just say nude photos from her website? In that case, why is she
No, there's a comma. There's a comma there.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, it's like, why would you host nude pictures of yourself on your own website and then go, they're on the internet now? I was just like, what?
It's like who wrote this saying hacked her website and some even made. It's like who wrote this crap and some even more made rape and death threats and.
Well,
Well,
as Quinn meticulously documented on zip drivers, the newspaper reports, fearing for her safety, she also moved out of her home in Boston. Yeah, because she didn't travel around in Europe for 6 months with the Patreon money she's getting.
No, fearing for her safety, she wrote a Medium post.
This story is kind of discombobulated by what this person's writing here.
It's also been done to death. We've been doing this story for 2 years now.
Yeah, but it's still popping up. I don't even know why.
Well, is there anything new? They mentioned case in the middle of it,
That's the only reason it's popped up again is because she dropped she quote unquote dropped the charges because.
Yeah, the Joni, we're getting to that part. Yeah, we're getting to that part.
That's the reason it's popped up.
Yeah, do you want to read the rest, Kermit, since you have such a lovely voice?
I can't read. What am I I'm reading it from your screen, am I? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Where are you? I don't even know where you are in it.
I'm
Prison
hidden.
break, budget crisis drives reform, but private jails press on.
No.
Oh, look who's back. Hold on, further down. It's very clearly not a priority, said Catherine Clark, a Democratic congresswoman who's back. Fuck's sake. Again, Jesus Christ. It's just the same people all the time.
But read from here.
Due to the number of individuals involved, there is no effective way for law enforcement to deal with the situation. Okay, Quinn herself agrees. So in an attempt to defuse the situation, she's vacated the 2014 restraining order, and in a blog post, she said she doesn't intend to participate further in attempts to hold him legally accountable. Maybe
It was a
because-
gag order, not a restraining order. It was first it was the restraining order. Then she went into the gag order to close down the blog site.
I'm just glad he's continuing to pursue so that he can set precedent, because that will stop this shit in its tracks. Not only this case, but future cases as well.
Well, the fact that they didn't bother to explain the whole situation about the fact that she was possibly fibbing in half of her accusations and stories that
She's
she
a
made.
lady. It's 2016. She'd never lie.
Well, the fact is
Fibbing is too nice a word. It's called fucking lying.
I do say I like sort of the way that some of this bit about the case is phrased, that mentioning that they that sort of the legal law element tried their best to be supportive of her, but that's it just didn't seem to work out in her case. I do like that note, because I feel like it further emphasizes that nobody is actually against this person succeeding if there's anything to actually go on.
Yeah.
People are trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. People are trying to be as nice as possible in this entire situation and just let her present her case. And it's not working, and it's not because anyone's against her, it's just not working.
I can't wait.
But they gave her I think it was a no cross examination for her, which basically the other side cannot ask her questions on what she did or what she's allowed to say, and because the reason why they were protecting her rights, because they said that Zoe Quinn, they gave her free reign on what to do.
I don't think that's how court works, but let's finish the story.
I can't wait to play the next Twine hit in 2016, Court Quest. By Zoe Quinn. It's going to be like, you get taken to court, what do you do? I write a blog post on Medium. Good job.
Do you want me to read, or what do you want to read?
I'm shooting Italian policemen in Just Cause, so if you want to read, that's
okay. Okay. She says she doesn't intend to participate further in any attempts to hold him legally accountable, according to the Post and the New York Daily News. A February 24th arraignment had been scheduled in a criminal harassment case over multiple claimed violations by Joni of the restraining order. However, because of the free speech implications, he had garnered significant financial and legal support, and Quinn decided last week not to pursue the case because it likely would have led to a further online onslaught by third.
I disagree. It's not because of the free speech implications. It's because of the fact that she's abusing a court of law.
Yeah, but again, Quinn is claiming it's not because she's right, but because people are going to troll her online. Jesus Christ, that's the weakest fucking argument you can have.
Here was the problem. The fact that a lot of people sympathize with Aaron Joni, because if anyone who read the blog would know that Aaron Joni didn't do this intentionally to. His intention was to warn people about Zoe Quinn and her abusive nature in the public eye. Because there was something I recalled. There was a guy named Mike Sarko, whatever his name is, the guy who amped up the price for AIDS pills. You may have heard of him.
Oh, you're talking about Shkreli.
Martin Shkreli.
Yeah, there was a blog from his ex-girlfriend, and you may have heard about this. The girl actually wrote a blog about him and talking about how much of a deal proposing and did an indecent proposal to her, that he would eat her pussy for $10,000.
What the
Yeah, she even wrote that on a blog. And you know, did he sue? No, he let her talk her talk, her bullshit. And this was all on the news. And yet everyone read that freaking blog. They rather listen to her side of the story. But when it comes to Aaron Joni talking about Zoe Quinn, everyone's like, "Oh, she's the very nice person. She's a darling." But
Well, that's
when
the
you
thing.
find, yeah,
If you can't frame it, if you know you're going to lose in a court of law, you try and frame it so that you win in sort of the court of the people, where you have the people's backing
Yeah.
behind you, and that's what's happened. They've tried
I
to
know.
frame it in
I
such a way.
truly think where everyone shot themselves in the foot back in August 2014 was that people even defended, talked about, if silent treatment, just not really acknowledging it at all from either side of the situation, had happened from the gaming press, this whole thing would have blown over.
Oh
It
yeah.
erupted because people started taking sides, and they started taking sides, you know, on an emotional, visceral level. They were not, you know, defending anything from a logical perspective, and that just made everyone more paranoid and dig deeper. And, you know, and I just feel like this article is almost a leftover of that. Like, if you want this to go away, if you want this to stop, if you want people to stop picking away at this, stop promoting this person. She'll be better off if everyone stops talking about her. You know, she could, you know, but then the question is, like, does she want to be left alone? Because I imagine, you know,
No.
if, yeah, it's just, you know, this could go away for her. This could go away tomorrow if she just stopped, you know, stirring the pot on the whole thing, walked away, and went to go make a different game. If
She's
she
too
made a
deep. She's in too deep, though.
Yeah.
We're 2 years in, and she's
That's what she said.
all this
Yeah.
stuff. She's now in far too deep to back down, and she knows she's in the wrong. Everyone else knows she's in the wrong. I'm pretty sure the gaming press would rather this just went away, because it's been 2 years of nightmares.
Because I mean, if she just went away tomorrow and, like, disappeared for a few months and somehow came back with a reasonably good, functional game to present to the world and sort of, I don't know what to call it, not necessarily distract them, but sort of show, like, this is what I'm doing with my life, and I am a game creator, and what happened is just, you know, drama, whatnot, this is what I'm doing, people would drop it. She doesn't do anything but GamerGate. That's all she does.
There's a lot of people on the internet that do that.
Yeah. Let's
Quite a-
finish this
But
thing.
they don't game devs. I mean, what the fuck has she done besides putting together depression quests?
Nothing.
Okay, so
Yeah, but that's the whole indie clique, isn't it? I think you could say the same thing of Robin Arnault, who's doing his thing where you, like, yell into a mouthpiece for an hour, and you make the Windows music player visualizer do stuff, and that's apparently a game.
I mean, I've made like a really shitty shoot 'em up from the Flash tutorials gone and Congregate when they teach you to do that, but I mean, I'm not a fucking game dev.
Yeah, but you acknowledge that, but these people, they say, oh, I did the Unity
I'm
tutorial
special.
1, I am now game dev.
I made this.
Fire special.
It's more of I think it's more of a title and a status thing. I think if you go to San Francisco and you say, oh, but I'm a game dev, I'm an indie game dev, it's a fucking click thing. It's trendy to be an indie game dev.
They're hipsters, virtual signaling.
Yeah, that's what
Why
it is.
I'm reminded of that report. I posted it to you guys a long time ago from that one article. The guy talking about the recent wave of narcissists entering geek culture and why.
Yeah, I don't get where geek culture's gone in the past. It's become very mainstream very quickly, and while it's had its benefits of going mainstream, everyone's jumped on the bandwagon, and now you get shit like the fucking Big Bang Theory. That just pisses me off.
The article, the guy was talking about essentially the hipsters. He didn't actually call them hipsters, but from his description of what they are, I mean, they're fucking hipsters. I mean, they're mostly affluent people who are just narcissists for a variety of different reasons. You know, just completely self-centered, all about themselves, seeking attention, used to getting, being popular or getting that attention for a variety of different reasons. And because of the economic and cultural shifts, they are no longer able to be sort of ushered into the positions that they normally would have been a generation or two ago. So, where do they go from there, right? And a lot of them are sort of latched on to geek culture as a sort of awkward status symbol because I mean, understand, if you look at like a PBS game show or and a bunch of these hipsters, their whole I guess their persona, the way they present themselves, it's all about trying to emulate like the Revenge of the Nerds sort of image of what it means to be a geek, right, or a nerd, and it's not like that anymore. And that hasn't really, I mean, that doesn't really exist, like it used to, except for the old stereotype that mostly they're persisting. I mean, that generation was us. We have jobs now. It's just, I mean, I don't get it.
I mean,
academics are on it, but go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, Nor Delta in the comments, he said the problem is that they're making money's not a goal because they're already loaded. I don't think they're loaded. I think these are people that haven't ever needed to take care of themselves, and they've had someone bail them out. Because literally, they're all living in San Francisco, and if you read anything about Silicon Valley and stuff like that, the sheer cost of fucking housing in that area is outrageously expensive. And yet somehow these people who literally make twine games for a living, quote unquote living, are able to afford to live there and stay there and do whatever the fuck they want. And at this point, they're not even making games that they supposedly use to make a living.
They're rather affluent and essentially, like the paper said, these are people who would be going on to.
Wait, who has background music on?
I don't know whose background music that is.
Because someone.
Who's
Copyright strikes.
But these are people who a generation ago they would have gone on to like those awkward, worthless positions in some company where they just leech off of that for a while. Before the economy crashed and people can't really do that shit anymore. So now they're just fucking meats. And
actually, I want to note something kind of unrelated but connected at the same time.
Sure.
I recently was looking at the real estate market in San Francisco just out of curiosity. That kind of thing, like, hey, I wonder what my great-grandparents' house is worth now, kind of silliness. And what I realized that's very hilarious is that so the hipsters are paying an arm and a leg for all these tiny little flats in San Francisco, but the reason why they're so expensive is they're in these tiny little overhyped areas. And then if you go like 2 miles in a different direction, but you're still completely within the city, the drop-off rate is ridiculous. These people really like sort of put it on themselves. It's just kind of funny, like, oh, my rent's so high. It's like, well, why don't you go live over there and take the bus in every day?
Because then you don't get to be with your hip friends.
Or maybe you could, take a little walk, get a little exercise, and I don't know. It's kind of funny how they've created their own overpriced, overhyped, over whatever little microcosm in these tiny pockets.
Well, if we just finish the article, I kind of want to finish it. The legal process bent backwards to accommodate her every step of the way until it could bend no further without collapsing entirely. Oh, sorry, I missed this part. Johnny told the Daily News that he believes Quinn is backing away from the case to avoid the really bad PR of losing it. That's kind of a good point. The legal process bent backwards to accommodate her every step of the way until it could bend no further without collapsing entirely, he said. Experts say there are multiple reasons for the lack of available legal means to curtail online harassment by a group of people. Oh my god. I want to know what these fucking experts are.
Experts.
Among the problems are laws that are targeted to hold an individual culprit accountable rather than what the post refers to as a faceless multitude, who together were profoundly more frightening and disruptive than Joni's blog post ever was. Citation needed. Again, there are no fucking links here. Nothing. Where are the citations? Fucking idiot. Sorry for that. Plus, there is a perception by law enforcement and legislators that those targeted online, as long as they are not physically harmed, are not suffered a severe injury. Bull fucking shit. If you get a credible death threat, police will fucking take care of you.
Okay.
You fucking moron.
Yeah, but it's much easier to go on
just
medium.
look at the meetup in Washington D.C. when there was that bomb threat that just happened to encompass a fucking police station. They reacted, and we have photos to prove it, motherfuckers. In fact, the only one ever actually doing bomb threats and shit are either third-party trolls or the people like fucking Zoe Quinn. There's a long history of that being the case, motherfuckers.
I just get so... This fucking author is an idiot with
ends
no...
tonight.
Hey, that. We're in the law book.
No sources. Go ahead, JT. You wanted to say...
Where's it posted? Is that just some opinion piece, or?
I don't even know what is it's home data news.
Oh, that's
It's
news.
written by a woman. Let's see the tags. Filed under internet law, cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's a news article too. Oof.
Yeah.
On what site?
What was it called again? ABA Journal.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, better not, because it's fucking cancer. Here, it's clearly not a priority, said Catherine Clyde, the Democratic congresswoman from Massachusetts, whose district was impacted by GamerGate. Again, there is no citation to this shit.
Yeah, but we impacted our whole state. We got a whole district, man.
Jesus.
Shut it down.
Their feeling is that it doesn't cause bodily harm, but that misses the point. No, it doesn't miss the point. Oh my god. What's so corrosive is that it has the effect of silencing people.
You mean like a gag order?
Oh my god.
It has the effect of silencing people like a gag order.
Yeah, of disrupting the personal and professional lives. Again, GamerGate people are the ones getting fired, you fucking moron. We see more of a reaction if someone's purse is stolen. Again, there is no citation of any of these claims.
Yeah, but if someone's purse is stolen, their purse is stolen. If someone calls you a fucking idiot on Twitter, nothing happens.
At the same time, however, holding a large number of individuals accountable for mass action is a hugely time-consuming task. Law professor Danielle Citron of the University of Maryland told us, "Do we expect Massachusetts police to go after all of them?" She said, "At some point it becomes too much for the system to bear. You can't nail down criminal liability in a case like Zoe's, where there's such a huge number of actors." Again,
So I don't get it. Do they want to prosecute or not then?
It's more than just a huge number of actors. It's the fact that there's no crime.
No,
Yeah,
see, you know what? No, hold on. I say if they want to fucking prosecute everyone in GamerGate, this big, nebulous fucking scary group, then you know what? They can go for it. But that also opens the floodgates for us to sue them for slander.
Oh yeah, because then we've had 2 years of articles, and they'd have to prove that everyone that was sued said something damaging to the extent that it was harassment. If someone literally said,
you'd have to prove we're worse than ISIS. You literally have to prove that we're worse than ISIS. Go ahead, have at it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. So let's just assume someone had said, "I'm going to come to your house and kill you" or whatever. That's one person. That's not the entire entity. They would have to prove that every single person said something along those lines.
Basically, something like a RICO case.
Uh,
A RICO, basically, if a group and every single one of them is somehow linked, everyone can be prosecuted. Basically, that's
but
a RICO case.
presumably I couldn't be prosecuted for something someone else said.
No. You have to be involved. That's what I mean.
Exactly.
It's like a big conspiracy, basically.
Whereas if they had one journalist saying everyone under this label is worse than ISIS, then there's only one person who's got to prove that they didn't say it. So, yeah, I think opening the floodgates is stupid. I think they're just they're doing this to drum up news shit, clickbait, bullcrap.
Yeah.
And there are 3 links, one to the Washington Post, one to the blog post to Zoe Quinn, and one to the New York Daily News. But nothing that actually backs the claim she's making in this article. What's her name again? Martha Neal. And this would be slander again if we use the same logic that these fucking people are using.
The article was reposted in the Sydney Herald too, by the way. So CE8 Beach.
I do appreciate that they mention how the case has been playing out. At least, like, there's a hint of, what's actually going on left in there.
Well, it's quite interesting because this has been going on for 2 years, and surely it wouldn't have lasted this long if it was that clear cut.
Well, also understand that outside of the social justice clique, the rest of academia is sort of obligated to take them seriously, or at least take them on good faith. So when these guys say that GamerGate is this, and they ask legal experts' opinions, those legal experts are going to take them at face value and give their actual opinions on this. So
yeah, that's what I also wanted to say, because this professor doesn't really know the details. He's just talking from the information they told him, basically, or told her. I don't know. Danielle, yeah, it's probably a female name. So this woman.
Stop misgendering her!
My pronouns.
My pronouns.
So, anything else you wanna cover on this? Oh yeah, RICO, a racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization. Yeah, it's kind of related to RICO, but
that's implying this thing is organized in the first place.
Yeah, that was kind of my
on the internet.
Again, that was kind of my point.
Yeah, it's like suing every user of a website because they're a user of a website and implying that makes them part of an organization.
They tried to do that with Pirate Bay.
The hackers known as 4chan.
Redchan.it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do we have anything more, or do we want to move on to the next topic?
Go ahead.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Yeah, someone's made a good point. If GG is really linked so closely to Quinn, it'll end when the court case is resolved. But I doubt it will. It's like, yeah, well, the thing is, if the court case finishes, it doesn't mean people are going to just stop. Because some people joined, admittedly, I assume some people did join because of Quinn and stuff, but I'm sure a lot of people just said, look, I want to stop reading, I want to stop having Street Fighter V have...
It was never about
and then
I mean, that was the last
content and shit.
That was the last straw.
It wasn't
just her. I mean, she is a symptom that has been plaguing gaming for years. I mean, how many just retarded, no talent indie developers have put out just shit and have demanded respect for. That's been an issue for so fucking long, and then to see it get to this point, that was too far.
Yeah, especially Zoe Quinn's game was bad. It was
wasn't
bad
a
from
game.
my perspective. It wasn't really a game, but yet it's considered an interactive game, storytelling wise.
Yeah, but it's basically, those choose your own ending Goosebumps books.
Yeah,
That's it.
pretty
That's
much.
all it was.
It's
And
like
the sad
that.
part
Only
is-
it's shit.
I mean, the fact that literally Total Biscuit came out with one in like 2 hours, if that.
I know it was hilarious how he did it, and same with Milo. Milo did one too.
Yeah.
Because it showed how easy it was, but Zoe Quinn did it like in a year.
I quite like watching all these things. How
2 years.
all this stuff where it's like, oh, it's easier than ever to develop your own game nowadays. It's like, no, you're just shifting the boundaries of what a game is.
Yeah, because she mentioned that a while back that it's so easy considering that we can actually make games through tools and such. I'm like, yeah, it's easy.
Well, I'd argue that with like a certain amount of options and alternative paths or whatnot, you could get a choose your own adventure kind of setup to start to mimic or look like a game. Especially like if you could somehow implement an inventory so you could get kind of a point and click adventure like rubbing things against things kind of
You could have made
situation.
Zork. You could have made like a version of Zork or something.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there's like a point where it starts to jump from one to the other, but I definitely think that was a very narrative experience that could have easily been like in book form.
Well, it was literally, if you picked the option she didn't intend for you to pick, it was game over.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think an important differentiation between a game and sort of a book or something is there a direct benefit to it being interactive versus it being something where you just turn a page? What is the difference? What is the benefit to making it a quote-unquote game? Like, a lot of people mention Firewatch is very much like a narrative experience, but Firewatch has a lot of very pretty visuals, so you can start to argue that it's the atmosphere that they're trying to place you in to get you in the mood for the story you're going to experience.
Well, I think that's why there's a lot of discussion about, it's at this point it's just like, oh, is it a game or is it a slightly quote-unquote walking simulator sort of thing? I think it's very different making an environment that you can then walk through that maybe doesn't have as much interactivity. I guess it comes down to what you define as a game, and again,
it's a visual novel at that point.
Well,
that's why I make the argument that Gone Home is a visual novel.
Yeah, maybe one way to look at it is like it's when you start implementing it variables or an inventory. At that point, maybe it becomes a game.
Well,
or is that like the line?
Well, not necessarily like an inventory, because a lot of games don't have an inventory.
Games involve gameplay. There is no gameplay to Gone Home or really the Firewatch. I mean, aside from literally click to progress, press F to advance story and pay respects. I mean, what else is there to it?
Well, I mean, this is the argument that is also used by people that develop this sort of stuff to say, oh, but it is a game because it's what do you define as a game? And then the lines get fuzzy and people have different definitions and all that.
I did try out a game called Hand of Fate one time, and it was basically you have a guy putting down cards, and sometimes you have to choose which card you want to go through. And it actually has a driven story narrative of what you want to. You have to kill this one specific boss in order to, and that's like the biggest goal of your quest is to kill these guys.
So there's an
And of
actual
course, you have to also.
obstacle.
Yeah, it actually challenges you. Even the gameplay for fighting, even though it didn't have really designed fighting mechanics, it was pretty interesting.
It's one thing to argue over the depth of the mechanics, but the existence of mechanics is sort of the key here.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to move on to the next topic. I know Noble is gonna get triggered by the next topic, but I
Do it.
What's the next topic, dare I ask?
Here we go.
Oh, is that what that dinging noise has been?
But there's
That is fucking triggered. Why are we talking about this cunt again? Oh, did I call her?
There's an interesting part which they edited out afterwards. Somebody on KIA told me they actually edited it out after I archived it. So just let me quick get through this article. Anita Sarkeesian, the internet video feminist and media critic who has been featured as gaming's feminist advocate in Time magazine as 100 most influential people of 2015 list and part of Twitter's new Trust and Safety Council, is coming to Santa Monica College, headlining a series of lectures, events as a part of Women's Empowerment Month here at SMC.
Did that just say she's headlining a series of lectures?
Yeah.
What happens if anyone asks her a question?
She gets triggered. Let's continue. Sarkeesian is scheduled to give her a talk, I'll Make a Man Out of You, Redefining Strong Female Characters, at the main stage of the Theatre Arts Complex on March 8th at 11:15 a.m. with first come, first serve, whatever. Head of the non-profit feminist Frequency, Sarkeesian is a well-known figure in the world of internet feminism, who became embroiled in controversy once her YouTube video series Torsos as Women targeted the subject of video games. In 2014, this controversy followed her into the real world, as well as a talk she was planning to give at Utah State University received a mass shooting threat, which we know was not credible, and was subsequently cancelled. One sec. There's someone knocking.
It's Anita Sarkeesian.
So is she giving the same lecture that she came up with 4 or 5 years ago? Because I'll Make a Man Out of You. Isn't that her thesis that she graduated with?
If it's her thesis, it'll be torn to pieces.
Anyways, they followed into real world, subsequently cancelled. She later went on to appear on ABC News and the Colbert Report following this incident, speaking on the subject of GamerGate. Yeah, we know all now how the ABC News and the Colbert Report, where Colbert Report actually censored the comments. Here's the most interesting part of this. Coming at SMT may be a nostalgia trip for Sarkeesian as interim associate Associated Dean of Student Life, Dr. Nancy Grass, confirmed that she is a SMC alumna who used to be a research assistant for Grass in the early 2000s. As a result of this relationship, Sarkeesian waived the majority of her standard $20,000 speaking fee, allowing the
fucking shitting me.
No, I'm gonna go through this. As a result, allowing the associated students to schedule her appearance for $5,000 instead. In total, the AAS budget for the entirety of the Women's Empowerment Month events came out to $21,000. So this fee reduction was critical to SMC being able to schedule other speakers. In addition to Sarkeesian, these other speakers were announced at the semester's first AES meeting, February 17th, by the director, student advocacy, Kimia. Blah, blah, blah. The speakers include Rosa Marino. The last one isn't that important. But this is really this is what they edited out: the $20,000 speaking fee. That's what they removed from this article.
That's really important to know. That's
And
very
we know
interesting.
we know she's been at Ubisoft. We know she's been at Activision. We know she's been at other places. And why the fuck are they paying her $20,000 to fucking speak there?
Well, I know the Bill Clinton, former president. He gets really exorbitant speaking fees. I think he used to get a little bit more than that per whatever.
I think he gets 80,000 or something.
Okay, so he gets a lot more than that, but you know she's charging pretty high up there considering sort of her position in the universe. I'm kind of amazed that they're still accepting donations if she's getting that much per speaking engagement. You would think she would, out of the goodness of her own whatever, be able to fund her own living expenses and
Exactly.
Yeah, but she's not been able to fund her video series.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you motherfucker. It costs so much.
This is why I think this one is very interesting.
Does she use
Because yes, she does speak often. It's just that it doesn't get told. This is the first time it's actually been spoken about because she goes to colleges and speaks all the time.
I don't know. I'm still waiting for Jonathan McIntosh to come back like a year from now, like hardcore MRA fedora tipping, and he's gonna have his revenge. And kicked out of Feminist Frequency. He was discarded when they were done with him.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's always been something that's made me feel like, I don't know, that he's not 100% just in for it to be into it kind of thing. That there was like a whole series of issues that have put him in emotional toil.
I'm just baffled that someone who doesn't know shit about games, which we know that in 2012 she didn't know shit about games, is getting $20,000 for fucking speaking about games.
And you know she screens the questions for the end of the lecture before the lecture happens.
That's just not right. That is.
And she doesn't allow any recording devices. Like they announce right before her speech, but right before she walks on stage, that out of like common courtesy, can everyone not record anything and not take pictures and not, create any kind of documentation of whatever has happened behind this door.
Yeah, but that's because rape culture. You get video raped.
Well, the
I
question...
would say fuck that and bring an audio recording device with me. Fuck it.
Yeah, but then they say, "Oh, I need you to leave," and then if you ask
no, I said audio recording device. You don't know which one I'd be bringing. It doesn't mean
you need like a spy pen or some shit, man.
A fucking bug on. I just wear a goddamn tap wire.
I heard somebody try to record something once at these events, and the problem was that they brought like a tape player and hid it in their purse or their jacket pocket or something, and the reverberations from the audio system were just so bad you could barely pick up anything.
The thing is, you've got to know that the arguments they hold no merit and hold no water when literally you do everything in your power to prevent them from getting outside of your little audience of people that you know are going to pander to you. You ought to know that it doesn't hold it, that it's not watertight, and the fact that if it leaks, then your credibility is going to be shot.
Well, you remember that it doesn't work like that in their minds. It has to be secretive because if it gets out, people are going to attack it, and the fact that people disagree with it only means it's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's not right. It's stupid.
It's like, okay, she's getting $20,000 per speaking event that she goes to. Does that go into taxes as well?
No, because she runs a non-profit.
True.
So she probably charges it to her charity, pays people a salary, and then puts the rest back in for reinvestment into the charity. And then she doesn't pay taxes. And she gets lots of money.
Yep, and she gets lots of money, which basically technically makes her, well, close enough to actually make a difference in society by pulling this bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the whole thing's fishy, and
I think we're all just at a loss at this
Yeah,
point.
because I can't believe EA would do this to them. Would pay this amount of money to make her show up and talk to people. Heck, I
Given
even heard
what
from
EA has
Okay.
done,
feel like-
I'm not surprised.
I
It's
feel like
EA.
I feel like she's turned into almost like in the fashion world like a designer label. Like if you've had her speak at your event, then you can say like, well, we had Sarkeesian here. You know, it's like somebody
Female
walks
character.
around.
It's more
It's
like,
like a-
oh, I got those Sarkeesian shoes.
Yeah, well, it's like those women who walk around with a really plain looking handbag, but there's a giant like metal plate on the front of it that says like Versace. Or like Louis Vuitton, but like a name or a stamp that's supposed to signify like this is important, this is a thing, and I just feel like that's sort of what she's become. She's become the mascot or sort of the idea of feminism in gaming. I really don't think they expect her to really change the universe. I think it's just she's a thing to now sort of tote around like, oh, we had Sarkeesian speak. That means we're diverse and inclusive because she was here.
Does
Yeah,
that mean
basically-
she's become
basically what
like
you're
a
saying
token
is
woman?
I
it's a
think she's
voting
become a
ritual to
token.
keep away the SJWs, basically.
It's she's become the garlic to protect them from SJW scrutiny, and she's become this
No.
token.
no.
Yeah, so that they can say, oh, but a woman's approved
No,
it.
it didn't. It
rendering
didn't
off women.
protect. It didn't protect what's his name. You know who I'm talking about.
No, that's why. That's why everyone's
The guy
quiet.
who made the Iron Man movies, who actually
John
did
Favreau.
no Buffy the Vampire.
Joss
Sweden.
Josh Whedon. It didn't
Yeah, but
protect him from.
He was writing.
criticism.
He was writing decent, strong women characters for ages.
Yeah, but the sad part is that everyone got upset about the whole issue with Black Widow.
Yeah, well, the
and
thing is, Joss Whedon
Hulk.
has written strong female characters for a while, but they've always been very one-dimensional, paper-thin strong female characters. They've been strong female character because strong female character. And this was the first time he's actually, like, given a character a deeper... He's tried to delve in to some sort of backstory to have an emotional connection
Yes.
between these
Yes,
two characters that were meant to be
But
out.
they went after
He
him.
made him good.
And it was ridiculous. And it's just, like...
Okay, I seem to recall Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show, kind of got overplayed a lot. And the fact that after watching that whole series, I agree. I hated. After a few seasons, it was okay, but after the end of that whole show, they just started running out of ideas and just overplayed the whole demon mouth hole thing. And I'm like, guys, just kill her, please. And they did, but then again, they brought her back, and it's like, why are you doing this to me, Josh Whedon? Stop! Just end the show. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. He got torn a new one, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's like I personally I don't have a problem with Josh. It's just he made his show. He did a good job with it, especially with. I guess a lot of people got tired of what he did, especially with the house. I think it was that one show called Dollhouse.
Yeah.
That show kind of had a good. It was okay. It started off okay. Then it just started just going downward. Like they just couldn't do anything. They just ran out of ideas. They were burnt out.
Well, we want to move on to the next one, or do we
Go
wanna...
ahead and go to the next one, because we all know that
Okay.
Sarkeesian is making $20,000 for speaking fees, which is a
Well,
waste.
that's good.
That just makes me mad.
Yeah, that's why, because I don't want to trigger Noble so much.
Yeah, we should just get Noble to show up every time and pay him like a lot of money.
What, 20,000 to come on the stream so we can show him Anita Sarkeesian pictures?
Yeah. Yeah. And he would actually give his opinion on it or lecture people about the issues about. Well, we should promote you. We should promote you to that. We should actually get you to go to EA and talk about black issues in EA.
I could actually
interesting.
advise them on some of their science because never mind.
Well,
or military, or the military stuff too.
It just baffles my mind that someone, a fraud like this, can get 20,000 per just for speaking 2 hours. It's mind-boggling.
You know, it shouldn't be. It's heartbreaking because it's hitting close to home for us. But I mean, if you want to talk about just in the broader sense of money wasted, scams, and people cheating others out of money, she's kind of small beans here. I mean, she's one of too many. And it's not like there's this sort of grand specific injustice with respect to her. I mean, she has. I mean, you know her history. You know what she studied before going into this. I mean, a lot of people have managed to pull off doing exactly what she's doing. She just studied what they did and followed suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next topic, which triggered Cup a lot. God damn it! I don't have a timestamp for this. Anyways, it's let me screen share. Here we go. Okay, Cup, you wanted. Do you want to read or should I?
That already
you
looks
do
like a
it.
trash
You do it. I'll like jitter and stutter and sputter too much.
Who wrote just out of interest, who wrote this article?
Let's see. One sec.
At least the image
Fucking
is appropriate.
It doesn't say. Is there a name attached to this?
It's a blog. It's called.
Yeah, that's not credible.
Well, let's just read this. I can't sure. Let's see. If you identify as GamerGate, I'm going to assume you don't care about games, just other people's sex lives. I'm so done with GamerGate. So why don't?
Oh, wait.
I don't care about both.
Well, hold on. Before we go on, why do I care about this guy's opinion? Who is he?
He's the trash man, and he's trash.
I mean, apparently, but
Look at it. Look at the side. Look at the side right up here. Go up here. Go up for a moment.
Yeah, let's just read his short sci-fi instead.
I did.
All right, here it is. Sociology, publishing, rant, books, politics. He's into sociology, so that tells you something.
Layman, get Layman in. Layman, get in here now.
Oh yeah, Layman.
Homophobia.
Where the fuck is Layman? One sec.
Just because he has the best voice.
I'm so done with GamerGate. Just imagine him saying that.
I'm so done with GamerGate.
Then put down the keyboard and go play some Vigima. Why not play on a console? That way you can actually get away from the computer screen.
Because you just want to
Sit in the
know
living room
about
for a
people's
while.
sexy times.
Because he has some shitty
Sexy
opinions on the internet.
times.
And the comments, if you look at the Anon archive, the comments are hilarious. I guess they're worth a read because it's
we can do that afterwards. But it doesn't look like. Oh, for fuck's sake!
There's some sweet BTFO in there, but outside of that, I mean, who the fuck is
Layman's
this
too
guy?
good for us. He's not going to show up.
Why
No,
do I
he
care
has,
about this guy's
he has
opinion?
Yeah, he has a stream. I just want to read it.
I know he's competing with us. He's such a jerk.
I'm so done with GamerGate. Ah.
Back in my day.
Who is this guy? Why do I care about his opinion?
I thought we
Why does
were
anyone-
done with this
Why does
already.
anyone care about his opinion? What?
Please read my short science fiction.
For I need to get paid. Seriously.
Patreon.
Have some
please.
brandy.
He links to his fucking Facebook, which is.
Did someone just say brandy? That just reminded me I've got Jack Daniels in my cupboard. I might go make, make a glass actually.
I love brandy. It's so good when I can't even get a woman.
Well, let's just go through this. I know, but you're triggered. But let's go through this.
My favorite thing about this whole thing, and I mean the whole thing in general, is in like 30 years' time, someone's gonna sit their grandkids down and they're gonna go, "I fought for social justice once." And it's just be like,
Hopefully, those people never breed.
children, stop being shitlords.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this going
You
like,
little shits are misgendering me.
Just some old person in a home, just like, okay. It's time
Oh
for
my
bed now.
God!
Stop
Hold on.
gendering me.
Hey, Kermit, wait. Can you imagine what other kin are gonna be like when they have grandkids?
Oh my God!
Jesus.
Do not call me grandfather. Call me Grandwolf.
Yeah, I I'm your grandmother.
I am the alpha of this pack.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Okay. I mean, I thought we were done with this already. That GamerGate's motivations were blindingly obvious, but apparently not.
Well,
Let me.
ethics was a pretty good one. That was pretty blindingly obvious, but okay.
So let me
I'm
be
not-
clear. Let me be clear.
Let me be clear.
I'm doing humoring, respecting, or even listening to people who identify themselves as GamerGate. How can you identify yourselves as GamerGate? Is it a gender now?
How do I identify myself as
Or-
gamer?
Does it say how can you identify as Gamergate? Is it a gender now? Because A,
Hold on.
that's not a very social justice thing to think.
Does
because,
it have a penis?
and
Wait,
also,
wait,
what
wait,
about
wait.
being like, I'm a Democrat? Or
Hold
I'm
on. Hold on. I'm a Gamergate kin. Cup, stop misgendering me. Gamergate kin for life.
Yeah, but it kind of sounds like this. Identify themselves as GamerGate. Okay, it's a fucking hashtag.
Yeah, no, I'm not a member of Gamergate. I am Gamergate. I am just one large entity of people.
I did make
I
a
am Gamergate.
GamerGate scarf. I'll admit that. I made a GamerGate scarf.
Well,
I,
he is
I
so done
identify
with you.
as this
He is
bunny.
fucking done with you. So done.
Hodor, to the point that really, if you even try to argue it with me, be warned that you will hear something to this effect. I'm not white knighting Zoe Quinn. I don't know her, but I
I'm
do
not
know.
white knighting, but
I'm not racist, but
What I do know is a massive amount of lashing out, doxing, harassment, and worse against women, some of whom I do know personally, in quotation marks, gaming, of all sorts in the name of Gamergate. Theoretically, Gamergate claims it's about ethics in game journalism, except their idea of ethics keeps coming back to slut-shaming one indie game dev and her sex life. They also willingly insult, harass, slut-shame, otherwise mess with the lives of other women. But what that has to do with ethics in game journalism is completely beyond me.
I don't know.
Let's
Why
make
is it
this
bringing it
clear.
up?
Gamergate is about harassing women, especially women who have. Is it trying to be edgy here? The sex, whatever. Wrapped up in bullshit righteous flag of Fox ethics.
There's a lot of that. That seems to be the biggest thing. Is there's a lot of ignorance
And everyone who says, "Oh, GamerGate is this," they're people who don't talk with anyone in it. They're people who talk amongst themselves and go, "Oh, I think it's this." And no matter how many people say, "Why don't you just like I can tell you, I can talk to you," and it's no.
I was kind of hoping the SJW guy who I sent the link to on Twitter was gonna be for this part, but anyways, he didn't show up for some reason. Anyways, look, there are so many other targets that would actually deserve their ire. If you say harassment, slut shaming, insulting is bad, why does anyone deserve? Okay, well, anyways. What about Kickstarter devs who have yet to fulfill their pledges? Are they targets of GamerGate? No. Yes, they are.
Which ones in particular? Like, I don't know, feminist frequency videos, cough.
Or I mean, we've even questioned Sargo and stuff. There's been Dance Simulator stuff. There's been Schaefer.
I'm convincing Wade and Skype to get in here because otherwise he's a demonstrable terrorist.
Yeah, Roguestar is another one that we are upset with
Roguestar.
now.
Yeah. Let's see. What about early access and greenlit? I even made a stream about the early access.
Yeah, and I don't think this guy even is aware of what was going on in GamerGate at the time. He basically just assumed that everyone on the Facebook.
Yeah, but this is 5 days ago, so.
Yeah. So he probably. Okay, Skyrim, Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, we talked about this stuff. What the fuck is this guy discombobulating everything out of everything?
Yeah, so that suddenly stopped development once they've started getting money. Are they targets of GamerGate? No. What about AA titles? PlanetSide 2. PlanetSide 2 is released. I mean,
they're doing revamp work. PlanetSide 2 is being revamped. They're currently working on really improving it, which is a good thing. I don't see what the problem is there.
We've talked about Assassin's Creed Unity. We've talked about Arkham Knight. That were unplayable on at least one major platform on launch day. We even talked about Street Fighter. Anyways, a third of 2004.
I don't think. I think you're repeating things. It's like talking to a wall. These are people that won't acknowledge that we've done said things. You can blast them in the face with all the evidence that we have talked about it. You can point them to these streams and things, but they're just going to go, "Oh, you've not talked about it," because harassing women is your deal.
A day one patch, we've also talked about that. If GameGate or hell, anyone who has ever sympathized with them, actually wanted to give a damn about ethics in game journalism, then why is the U.S. Oh my God! Why is the U.S. What?
You can tell this guy's from another country.
What the fuck? Why is the
$200 million marketing?
No, that's 200 billion.
No, that's 200 million.
Sorry, yeah, million. Marketing budget for COD Modern Warfare 2. That's 4 times to cost the development of the game. Totally unremarkable.
Are you fucking retarded? Everyone's confused as to why people spend that much money.
Advertising money like that really makes one hesitant to pan the product. The fact that AA games still get negative articles written about them says a lot of good things. Really?
I'm confused. Did he just? So he just said that because COD's marketing budget was so big, it makes people hesitant to comment on them. I'm confused as to why. Why would the fact that
was like many years ago? That was like many years ago because MN2 was.
That's before Gamergate even.
Yeah, but I mean,
and the funny thing is,
Total it's a nonsensical argument.
Total Biscuit, who is supposedly, big shitlord leader of GG, has been speaking about a number of these issues for a long time, made big stinks about them, and I mean, who the fuck is this guy? I mean, I know Total Biscuit is raising awareness. He's actually made an impact. Who the fuck is this guy in his opinion? Nothing. What is he? Is this guy at all relevant? I mean, who is this? Smarmy little
But apparently one indie game dev sleeping with a guy. It's not just one guy, just FYI.
Yeah, it's 5 guys.
It's the entire clique. I mean, all the cancer came out with her. I mean, it's not even about her really. It's about so much more beyond her. I mean, the only reason
it's about the people who were at Kotaku writing for Kotaku, and
the only reason Aaron is even relevant is because they're dragging him into this. I mean, he didn't have anything really to do with us in the beginning. I mean, I remember those tweets when he came out and just said, whatever, leave me out of it. And why is he in it now? Because they dragged his ass back onto it. They kept panning him because they couldn't confront us. And, well, now they're getting what's coming to them, and no sympathy.
Yeah. This is also what he gets wrong again. Who only wrote about her once, which again is wrong. There are 2 articles where before they had a relationship, again wrong. Is so much more important. This, my friend, is the case where their reaction is to one bit of information tells you everything about them. GamerGate is a bunch of slut-shaming, misogynistic assholes who somehow think they're fooling anyone. Because as a gamer, I care about AA titles, fucking over devs with insane production schedules with shitty pay, and spending so much more on marketing. I care about AA titles shipping half-finished products and day 1 patches. I care about glowing reviews on websites where they accept advertising money for.
That's the thing. We have always been concerned about shit like that. We just haven't put a label on it before. The label has been gamers. That's been the label. And up to a point, the journalists were complaining about the same thing. They were saying, where's the DLC? Where's this, that, and the other? And it was when they started turning that around and started like actively shilling for people.
Yeah.
Paid stuff. I mean, like Jeff Gerstmann being fired, things like that. That was when people started going, this is fishy. And this is the people we thought were also gamers, who were meant to sort of they basically the gaming press were meant to be the intermediate between gamers and developers. They were meant to have enough pressure and enough strength to be able to make an impact on development studios, and gamers as an audience were meant to have enough impact on the press to make their concerns heard. And instead, the press just turned on the people that were their audience to appease developers instead. And it all got fucked up.
And this is kind of funny. So if you actually give a damn about game development, then maybe you should care about those issues instead of someone else's sex life. Hell, start your own Consumer Reports of gaming. Maybe you'll surprise me. I'm not going to hold my breath. Yeah. These are... you said there was something?
That sounds exactly like what GamerGate has been doing in general.
This is kind of the mentality,
This is what I tried to explain before. These are people who they don't care about your concerns. They don't care about what you actually have done. They just want to they want to slander a label. And it doesn't matter that people say, "Oh, but we have been concerned about this." If they can find even one instance of a person looking like they're slut shaming or whatever, using the tag, that's it. They have their scapegoat.
Yeah, here, looking at the comments, how is it you know something there is no evidence of? Just have a look at KIA, all of the topics are being discussed there. GamerGate isn't about AA games, it is a consumer revolt against bad journalism, specifically bad games journalism. What you're asking for sounds more like a job for the PC Master Race crowd. Besides, most of the people targeted by GamerGate are male, and none of them are targeted because of their sex, so I don't get where you get the idea from, and he links to hitpiece. No, wait, I actually do know. He gets the idea from the very same journalist GamerGate are fighting against. That's wrong grammar. Fuck's sake. Since you identify as anti-GamerGate, I know you don't give a rat's ass about games. What you really care about is looking to other people and the right social circles. For fuck's sake, Noble, why did you comment here? I love that the guy above is shitting on your lack of concern about games when you offered to give me a computer just so we could play games. Steve, I must be the social and he looks out for his cake, and they literally chill for him in light of valid criticism. So it's about right. That's Noble who's in this stream. That's very nice of you, Noble.
Oh, that's right. That is my comment. Yeah, who the fucking Anton was like, hey, my friend gave me a fucking computer, so obviously everyone who says something bad about him is lying. I was like, that's way to demonstrate exactly what the fucking problem was.
Yeah, he demonstrated to us. He demonstrated to us he has no awareness or no clue what was going on in GamerGate. He basically accused people, saying that this is a harassment thing, and yet he didn't acknowledge any of the.
I just look at that. I must be part of that clique you're talking about. Like, yes, that is literally it. Yes, that is exactly it. You're out here fucking chilling for him because he gave you stuff. That is exactly the problem.
That's pretty shitty, man.
I know, and now he's exposed.
Okay. Do you guys have any more other topics that you wanna cover, or
Sonic the Hedgehog? Sonic the Hedgehog.
Someone link that tweet.
Okay.
I need that tweet.
I can prove
I need it in my life.
I can prove he stole my fucking joke. I can prove this.
I need that tweet in my life. Someone link it to me.
No offense, but I seriously highly doubt that a Sega representative was scouring your Twitter feed for jokes to steal.
Oh yes. Stealing my jokes. I should sue this person.
I also feel that you're not the first person to make an attack helicopter joke.
Maybe he is secretly Sonic.
Let's try.
Surely you're not the first person to say you're an attack helicopter.
Let me check in my
I like that this
Twitter
is now
feed.
a form of bragging rights.
What? Sonic stole my tweet.
Yes, this is now bragging rights. Sonic stole my tweet.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's because he's supreme shitlord.
Oh, it's going to the wrong. I'm gonna prove it once and for all.
People say things that I'm thinking in my head all the time while I'm just sitting around on painkillers, and I don't call them out for stealing ideas out of my story.
I know. I'm just making a joke. I'm just saying. I said this a long time ago. Let's see. Where is it?
Oh, here it is.
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
the
I get this fun tweets all the time.
It's Jigglypig. Jigglypig actually asked that question. Let me get the tweet here. Link it. You're on the side chat.
Let's see.
All right.
Let's see.
Here's Jigglypig's. Here's the Jigglypig status.
Here is the response from Brianna Wu. A stat at Sega Sonic Hedgehog need to think about. 41% of transgender people attempt suicide, mostly due to being a punchline. That's her response to the
Citation needed. Citation needed.
Let's see, where is? Oh yeah, this was interesting. I saw this when I was taking when I was going to a lecture.
Yeah, that's the link that I had from Jigglypig.
It says a single taken, busy destroying the patriarchy. I'm like, what the fuck?
Why
you see those legs? Those are the legs designed to carry boulders up the sides of mountains.
So, wait, who was that person in the Greek myth or whatever that was pushing the boulder up the mountain?
Oh,
him.
I was gonna say Atlas is holding the weight of the sky. She's trying to push against the glass ceiling.
Right, but Atlas is holding the world, but there's another person that was.
Who pushed the
Here
boulder?
it is. Here it is.
They were either sentenced to hell to push a boulder up a hill for eternity or something else. I don't know.
Here it is. Here's my tweet.
You didn't say. Oh, that could have been misconstrued as Native Americans.
See,
That's why.
I say Stephen Hawkins needs to find this booth and wheel up in his motorized wheelchair and then make them sit awkwardly in silence as he types into his keyboard. A witty remark, but it takes a few minutes because he can't use his hands anymore, so he has to he has this amazing special thing where he can use his mouth to type or something. So it's gonna take a few minutes, and they just sit there in awkward silence staring at him.
How about that slap?
Here's the link.
Sisyphus.
Here's the Sonic. Here's the question that kid made about the Sonic thing, the Jiggy Pig character on Twitter.
This may surprise you, but there are rumors going around saying that you are a hedgehog. Can you confirm that? We actually identify as an anti-helicopter privilege.
Whoever runs that Twitter, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, that Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario's Twitter they've gone self-aware and have been just lit for the past year.
Official shitposting. I don't think it ever was official. Let me click on it.
No, it isn't official. It's actually identified as 6. Yeah, it has a check mark and everything.
Really?
Have you seen some of the shit he said about Sonic 06 and everything? They know. They know. They know.
Everybody knows.
The official Twitter feed for news about all things Sonic, we also memed.
You love him because he makes a lot of jokes. He's been getting a lot of followings from the gaming community itself.
Jesus.
Because he just loves doing the memes, especially the videos about him and doing.
Gotta go fast. Oh god, just seeing someone. Even when they did their own shitty MS Paint, oh god. yeah. Official Sonic Twitter did their own shitty MS Paint original.
Sonic
content.
handles criticism better than fucking half of the feminists.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's a picture of him. The struggle is real. Photo profile and tagged in photo. And there's another one. Happy Valentine's Day, Friend Zone Stage 5.
Wait, who? I don't see anything. Are you sharing or not?
Yeah, let me share it up on the screen here. Hold on.
RAP YouTube Gaming. Oh my god.
Let me share it to you guys, the feed on Sonic's little official Twitter page. Here it is. Tagged in photo. Yeah.
Geniuses. Marketing geniuses.
Hedgehog Day. Hashtag BTS shots. We've nicknamed him Cthulhu, Destroyer of Worlds. The actual hedgehog.
Aww.
What? No! I can't hack this prison door because there are too many guns near it.
Yeah, here's another one. Happy Valentine's Day, friends. Yeah, and he's also posting the Games Radar dating advice thing.
Friend Zone Stage 5. Holy shit.
Yeah, a poem. Roses are red. Knuckles is red. Valentine's Day. Hashtag Valentine's Day is soon. Knuckles and chill. Knuckles to and from. Chuckle. Okay, that's Chuckle.
Knuckles and chill.
Yeah, there's exclusive leaked footage of the new Sonic movie, and he actually linked a movie from Super Mario Brothers. A full movie of Super Mario Brothers the movie. I actually looked at that one. real talk. Sad to see Games Trailer shutting down today. Hang in there, guys. Hang in there, guys and gals.
This account is God's work.
Yeah.
The Mario one was also pretty good.
RAP YouTube Gaming, go up. Go up a bit. Down. Oh, you went too far. There's RAP YouTube Gaming. And there's a picture of Twitch. Further down. There we go. RAP YouTube Gaming. Jesus.
Wow. Fucking no shit.
Yeah. It's like, oh, there it is. Yeah, this is very entertaining. Like, the memes on this.
Look at it, that's the one.
Power of dreams is not measured by the frequency of dreaming, but by the speed of actions to make them come true. Except dreaming the earth is flat. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let's
So
kind
what
of
is the stream about now?
No, well, let's
Look at our new
some shit
mixtape.
posting.
It's about
Let's,
Sonic Team redeeming themselves.
No price
Yeah,
of
well-
free nut plus $9.99. I don't know what that is about. Check out our new remix tape.
Well, let's kind of wrap things.
If it's Aaron from the Game Grumps screaming while fishing, I'll buy it.
Well, let's kind of wrap things up. Is there anything you guys want to share? We can continue talking off air.
The Division is pretty good.
Okay. Anything else?
I can easily expose Division.
All right.
How do I say I'm streaming the Division? Like, do I use two thes?
Nope.
I don't know.
It confuses me.
There's a way you can actually win as a terrorist.
What?
There's a way you can win as a terrorist.
In what? I'm confused, man.
Yeah. Well, let's close the stream and shit talk off air. So thanks everyone for watching and see you guys next time. Bye.